The morning sun filtered through the kitchen window, casting a golden glow that danced across the countertop. I stood at the sink, my hands immersed in soapy water, scrubbing the remnants of breakfast from the plates. Lila had left early that morning for a meeting, her usual routine punctuated by a kiss on the cheek and a brief, distracted smile. I hadn't thought much of it, lost in the comforting rhythm of our day-to-day life. As I turned to grab a dish towel, something caught my eye, a familiar glow emanating from the kitchen table. There, amid the clutter of mail and the remnants of our children's school projects, lay Lila's cell phone, its screen illuminated. My heart raced. She had forgotten it. I picked it up and glanced around the empty house, the silence echoing the weight of the moment. For a heartbeat, I considered simply putting it in her bag and forgetting it. But a gnawing curiosity pulled at me, urging me to take a look. I could almost hear her voice in my head, playful yet warning, "Don't snoop, Jake." But I was drawn in. I pressed the button to unlock the phone, my fingers shaking as I typed in her birthday, a combination I had known by heart for years. The screen blinked to life, revealing her messages. The first text sent a chill down my spine. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Just us." I felt my stomach twist as I scrolled further. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about it." It was a betrayal laid bare in front of me, a confirmation of my deepest fears. Who was this Eric? I couldn't shake the feeling that I had entered a parallel universe, where everything I thought I knew was a lie. My heart raced as I read more, each message more intimate than the last. They had plans, secrets woven into the fabric of our life that I was oblivious to. "Damn it!" I whispered, frustration bubbling to the surface. I slammed the phone down onto the table, my breath coming in sharp gasps. How could she? Just then, the front door creaked open. I quickly grabbed the phone and shoved it behind my back as Lila stepped into the kitchen, her face lighting up with that familiar smile. "Hey, babe. I forgot my phone. Did you see it?" My heart pounded in my chest, a war waging between the instinct to confront her and the desire to keep the peace. I feigned nonchalance, turning to face her. "Yeah, I found it," I said, forcing a casual tone. "You really need to keep better track of your stuff." Her smile faltered for a brief moment, a flicker of confusion crossing her features. "Right? I swear I'm losing my mind lately." "Maybe you just have too much on your plate," I replied, trying to sound lighthearted, but my voice dripped with an undertone of bitterness. She shrugged it off, walking over to the coffee maker and pouring herself a cup. "You're probably right. The new project at work is insane, but it's exciting. I just need to stay focused." "Exciting, huh?" I couldn't help but let a note of sarcasm slip through. "I'm sure it's very exciting, for you and Eric." Her back stiffened, and she turned to face me, the smile evaporating from her face. "What do you mean by that?" I clenched my fists, my anger bubbling beneath the surface. "Nothing. Just that you seem to have a lot of late nights and exciting meetings lately." Lila opened her mouth, ready to respond, but I could see the gears turning in her mind, the realization dawning on her face. "Jake, are you?" "I know about the messages, Lila. I know you're cheating on me." Her expression morphed from confusion to shock, and in that instant, I knew I had crossed an irreversible line. The air felt thick, laden with unspoken truths. "Jake, she stammered, tears welling in her eyes. I took a deep breath, my voice steadier than I felt. "I deserve an explanation. You owe me that much." Lila's hands trembled as she wiped her eyes. "I never meant for it to happen, I swear. It just happened." I was confused, and Eric was there. "Confused?" I echoed, incredulity lacing my voice. "You think that's an excuse?" Her voice dropped to a whisper, desperation creeping into her words. "Please, just let me explain. I didn't think it would go this far." As I stood there, the weight of her betrayal crashing down on me like a tidal wave, I felt something inside me harden. The trust we had built, the love I thought we shared, shattered in an instant. "I can't do this anymore, Lila," I said, my voice cold and final. "I want a divorce." Her sobs filled the kitchen, but I felt nothing. The woman I had loved for years was gone, replaced by a stranger who had chosen betrayal. In that moment, as I watched her break down before me, I realized that the path ahead would be one of retribution, a journey fueled by anger and the need to reclaim my dignity. The days dragged on, each one heavier than the last, as I navigated the fallout from my discovery. Lila was a ghost in our home, moving through rooms with a haunting silence. I could feel the tension hanging in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. I was consumed by a mix of anger and despair, replaying our last conversation in my mind, the disbelief etched on her face. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to confront her again. This time, I would not let her escape the truth. The evening finally arrived, and the house was quiet as I paced the living room, the clock ticking loudly in the background. My heart raced, anticipating her return. I rehearsed what I would say, crafting a script in my mind to ensure I wouldn't falter when the moment came. As the front door clicked open, I felt a jolt of adrenaline. Lila stepped inside, her eyes immediately falling on me. She looked tired, the kind of tired that came from sleepless nights weighed down by guilt. "Hey, you," she said, trying for a casual tone as she kicked off her shoes. "Hey," I replied, my voice tight. "We need to talk." The tension in the room escalated as she took a step back, her shoulders tensing. "Is this about, about Eric?" "Yes," I said, not bothering to soften my words. "We're going to talk about him." "And about you," she sighed, a flicker of dread crossing her face. "Jake, I don't think this is the right time. Can we just..." "No. We're not avoiding this any longer." "You owe me an explanation," I interrupted, my frustration boiling over. "I want to know how long this has been going on and why you thought it was okay to betray me." Her eyes darted to the floor, her voice barely above a whisper. "It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I swear I didn't want to hurt you, not want to hurt me." "You already have," I exclaimed, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks. "How do you think I feel right now? Do you think I'm just going to pretend everything is fine? You broke our vows." I know, and I'm so sorry," she pleaded, tears welling in her eyes. "But it's complicated, Jake. I felt so alone, and Eric, he was there for me in ways you weren't." "Ways I wasn't?" I echoed, disbelief washing over me. "You chose to turn to him instead of talking to me. We could have worked through this. We had a life together, kids who depend on us." Her expression twisted in pain. "I didn't think about that. I was selfish. I just wanted to feel wanted again." "Wanted?" I scoffed, the bitterness dripping from my words. "You had a husband who loved you, who would have done anything for you. And you threw that away for a cheap thrill." "It was never about that. I didn't think it would go this far," she cried, her voice breaking. "Then what was it? What did you think would happen?" I stepped closer, determined to push her for answers. "Did you think I wouldn't find out? That I'd be oblivious forever?" "Jake, please," she whispered, the tremor in her voice cutting through me. I clenched my fists, struggling to contain my rage. "No more excuses. I want the truth, all of it. How long have you been seeing him?" I don't know," she stammered, and I could see the guilt etched on her face. "A few months. But I was going to end it. I swear. I didn't mean for it to happen like this." "A few months?" I spat, each word like a dagger. "You think that's acceptable? You think that's something I can just brush aside?" "I didn't think it would be serious. I thought it was just a fling," she pleaded, her voice rising in desperation. "Just a fling?" I repeated incredulously. "You made a choice, Lila. And now we're sitting here, and I'm left to pick up the pieces." Silence hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Her tears flowed freely now, a reflection of the chaos she had wrought. "I didn't want to hurt you. I love you, Jake. Please believe that." I shook my head, feeling the ground beneath me shift. "Love? Is that what this is? Because it sure doesn't feel like it. Love doesn't betray." I know. And I'm sorry," she sobbed, her hands reaching out toward me. Please, just give me a chance to explain. I'll do anything, anything. I echoed, my voice dripping with skepticism. You think I can just forget about this? You think a few tears will change what you've done? Please, she whispered again, her voice breaking as she took a step closer. I'll go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Just don't give up on us. Fix this. I laughed bitterly. You think counseling will heal the wounds you've inflicted? I can't even look at you without seeing the betrayal etched in your face. Lila's shoulders sagged, the fight leaving her as she sank onto the couch. What do you want from me, Jake? I'm scared. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose what we had either, I said, my voice softer now, laced with pain. But it feels like you've already lost it, and I'm not sure I can get it back. In that moment, I realized I was standing on the precipice of a decision that would alter the course of our lives forever. The pain in her eyes was palpable, but the desire for revenge was starting to ignite within me. As I looked at her, I knew I had to be strong. I had to reclaim my dignity. I want a divorce, Lila, I said quietly, my heart shattering with each syllable. Her face crumpled, her sobs filling the room as she buried her head in her hands. No, please don't say that. I'll change. I promise. Just give me time, time. I said, shaking my head in disbelief. Time is something you've already taken from me. I can't do this anymore. As I turned away, I felt the weight of the world crashing down on me, knowing that this confrontation was only the beginning of a long, painful journey toward retribution and healing. The following weeks blurred together in a haze of paperwork, phone calls, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal that clung to me like a second skin. Each day felt like an uphill battle against my emotions, but I was resolute. The divorce papers loomed over our home like an impending storm, and I knew that the real reckoning was still to come. I had hired a ruthless attorney named Sarah, a fierce woman known for her no-nonsense attitude and her ability to take no prisoners in the courtroom. She was precisely what I needed, a partner in my quest for justice. I sat in her office one afternoon, surrounded by a sea of legal documents, as she flipped through the details of my case. Let's cut to the chase, Sarah said, her voice sharp and clear. You have a strong case for a favorable divorce settlement, especially with the evidence you've gathered regarding her infidelity. But I want to know, what do you want out of this? I leaned back in my chair, the leather cool against my skin. I want her to feel the consequences of her actions. I want to make sure she knows I won't let her walk away without accountability. Sarah nodded, her expression serious. That's understandable, but be careful. Emotions can cloud judgment. Focus on what's in your best interest, especially when it comes to the kids. I nodded, but inside, I felt a flicker of doubt. I just want to expose her for who she really is. She deserves to lose everything she had with me, everything she took for granted. Revenge can be intoxicating, but it can also backfire, Sarah cautioned. Let's approach this strategically. We'll use the affair against her, but we'll do it in a way that maximizes your leverage. As we discussed the details, I could already envision how I would publicly expose Lila. I had spent nights crafting a post that would reveal everything, the affair, the lies, the shattered trust. I knew it would hurt her, but I felt a sense of power in taking control of the narrative. Later that evening, I sat in my dimly lit living room, staring at my phone. My heart raced as I crafted the post, a mixture of anger and satisfaction surging through me. I typed furiously, pouring my feelings into the words. Today, I found out that the woman I trusted most has been cheating on me for months. Her name is Lila, and she chose to betray our family for a man named Eric. It's time to reveal the truth. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the post button. But then, a rush of adrenaline coursed through me. With a swift motion, I hit send, watching as my words spread across the screen. The reaction was immediate. Friends and family began to comment, their shock palpable. I felt a mix of vindication and dread. Just then, my phone buzzed with a call from Lila. I let it ring, a part of me relishing her inability to reach me. She texted instead, Jake, please call me. We need to talk about this. I tossed my phone aside, a bitter smile creeping across my face. The next day, the fallout began. My phone buzzed incessantly with notifications, friends reaching out to express their support and confusion. "Hey, man, I just saw your post," said my friend Mike when I finally picked up. "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" "Not really," I admitted, running a hand through my hair. "But I feel like I finally have some control over this situation." "Just be careful. You know how this can go," Mike warned. "People are going to talk, and you might want to think about the kids." "I know, but I can't just sit back and let her get away with it," I replied, my voice laced with determination. Later that evening, Lila confronted me as I sat on the couch, scrolling through the barrage of comments on my post. Her eyes were red-rimmed, a mixture of anger and sorrow etched across her face. "Why would you do this?" she demanded, her voice shaky. "Do you have any idea how damaging this is?" I looked up, my heart hardening. "Damaging? You think you can lecture me about damage? You destroyed our family." "I was wrong, Jake. I made a terrible mistake," she pleaded, her voice rising. "But airing this out publicly? You're just as bad as I am." "Just as bad? You think that's what this is about?" I stood, fury igniting within me. "You had an affair. You've shattered the trust we built for years, and I'm the bad guy for wanting people to know the truth. It's not just about us anymore. Our kids are going to hear about this," she shouted, tears streaming down her cheeks. "And what do you think they're going to think when they find out their mother cheated on their father?" I shot back. "You made this choice, Lila. Not me." She took a step closer, desperation etched on her face. "Please, Jake, let's just talk this out. We can figure something out. Don't do this. Talk it out." I laughed bitterly. "What is there to talk about? You made your bed, and now you have to lie in it." I turned away from her, the tension between us palpable, as I felt a hollow victory settle in my chest. The reckoning was just beginning, and I was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. That night, as I lay in bed, I realized that I had crossed a line I could never uncross. I had chosen revenge over reconciliation, and while it felt empowering in the moment, I was left with a deep sense of hollowness. The emotional turmoil ahead was only just beginning, and I was caught in the grip of a relentless storm. The divorce proceedings crept closer, each day pulling me deeper into a web of emotions I had never anticipated. I felt a mix of exhilaration and dread, my determination to expose Lila's betrayal propelling me forward. I had spent countless hours strategizing with Sarah, and today, everything would come to a head. I was ready for the reveal, my chance to ensure Lila's reputation would be irrevocably damaged, just as mine had been. It was a crisp autumn morning when I orchestrated my plan. I had arranged for Lila to meet me at a local coffee shop, one of our old haunts, where laughter once filled the air. Now, it felt like a battlefield. I could already picture her walking through the door, her expression shifting from hopeful to horrified as the truth unraveled before her. As I arrived early, my mind raced with the details of what I would say. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. I was determined to be in control. When Lila walked in, her eyes lit up for a moment, but then the realization of my intent washed over her face. "Jake," she said, her voice tentative as she approached. "Thank you for agreeing to meet. Let's not waste time with pleasantries, Lila," I said, cutting her off. "You know why we're here." Her expression shifted to apprehension. "I've been thinking a lot about everything, and I just want to apologize again. I made a terrible mistake." I leaned forward, my heart pounding. "An apology isn't going to fix the damage you've done. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what your choices have cost you." "What do you mean?" Her brows knitted together in confusion. "Eric is here," I said, my voice steady. "And I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what you've done." Her eyes widened, panic overtaking her features. "You wouldn't. You can't bring him into this." "Why not?" "He's part of the story," I said, enjoying the moment. "The world deserves to know the truth about the woman who cheated on her husband." Just then, Eric entered the cafe, looking around as if he were searching for someone. My heart raced at the sight of him, knowing this confrontation would be the final nail in Lila's coffin. I gestured for him to come over, and he approached, glancing back at Lila. "Jake, what's going on?" Eric asked, a mix of confusion and apprehension on his face. "Just a little family meeting," I said, my smile cold. "I thought you two should see each other one last time." Lila looked between us, her face a mask of horror. "Jake, please don't do this. We can talk about this, just the two of us." "I'm done talking, Lila." "You've had your chance," I said, feeling a surge of adrenaline. "Now it's time for the truth to come out." "Is this really necessary?" Eric interjected, glancing at Lila, who looked like she might crumble into tears. "It absolutely is," I said firmly. "You've both made your choices, and now you'll face the consequences. Lila, you need to explain this to everyone. You owe it to our family." Lila's composure began to crack, and she looked at Eric, desperation in her eyes. "You need to help me. I didn't want it to end like this." "End like what?" I asked, my voice rising. "This is just the beginning. You wanted a thrill, and now you're going to pay for it." "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she cried, tears spilling down her cheeks. "It was supposed to be a mistake, Jake. A way to escape. I never wanted you to find out this way. You should have thought of that before you started sleeping with another man." I shot back. "I'll be damned if I let you walk away unscathed." I pulled out my phone and opened my social media app. The post had gone viral, garnering hundreds of comments and reactions. I clicked on a live video feature, feeling the adrenaline rush through me. "Today, I'm going to show everyone what true betrayal looks like," I announced, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside me. "This is Lila, the woman who thought she could have it all, her family and her affair. And here's Eric, the man who helped destroy our marriage." "Jake, please." Lila begged, her voice cracking as she reached for me. "Don't do this. You're hurting our kids." "That's your fault, Lila. You chose this path. You put your desires above everything else, including our children." I shouted back. "And now, you'll face the consequences of your actions." As I went live, comments flooded in, the view count climbing rapidly. My heart raced as I saw friends and acquaintances tune in, their shock evident in their messages. "Jake, this isn't the answer," someone typed. "You need to think about the kids." But I was past the point of no return. I had unleashed the truth, and I wouldn't back down. "Lila, look at the camera," I commanded, forcing her gaze to the screen. "Tell everyone what you did. Please, just let's go home and talk about this," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "Home?" I echoed. "This is your home now. You've destroyed everything we built together. It's time for you to face the truth." She turned to Eric, her eyes pleading. "You're not going to let him do this, are you? You said you'd stand by me." Eric looked uncomfortable, glancing between us as if trying to gauge the situation. "Lila, maybe we should talk about this privately." "No. This is the moment of truth," I shouted. "You both need to own up to what you've done." Lila's face fell, realization dawning on her. "I can't believe this is how it ends," she whispered, the weight of her choices crashing down around her. "This isn't the end, Lila. This is just the beginning of your consequences," I said, my voice steady. With that, I ended the live stream, feeling a mix of triumph and emptiness wash over me. The reveal was complete, and Lila's reputation was in shambles. But as I stood there, watching her fall apart, I realized that in my quest for revenge, I had sacrificed my own peace. The hollow victory settled in my chest, a reminder that even in winning, I had lost something irreplaceable. As Lila stepped back, shaking her head in disbelief, I felt the weight of the world settle on my shoulders. The damage was done, and now, all that was left was to navigate the fallout of a life irrevocably changed.